I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about, did my avoidant ex run when she got too close? One of the things that we see avoidants do a lot is run away when they are feeling pressured. Sometimes they are putting pressure on themselves, internal pressure about the situation. Sometimes they're feeling pressured by their partners, sometimes by external people and factors. Maybe that other people are saying, when are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids? To them, so that makes them get scared with you, which is certainly not fair to you, but it happens. Avoidants feel pressure easily, and that feels like an overbearing wave or a feeling that makes them uncomfortable. And when they feel that feeling of uncomfortableness, it overrides the attraction and the connection that they normally feel for you. So you always want to be careful about smothering or pressuring an avoidant, because there's a good chance they're going to do something to run away or sabotage it, or they just lose that internal attraction to you, and when they tell you that, it feels hard to believe. Now, if you don't want to date an avoidant, you don't have to date an avoidant. They are challenging people. Avoidance would tell you that anxious people are challenging people, and I would tell you that they're both right. Anxious people have challenges of dating them. Avoidant people, they have challenges of dating them as well. Get secure, and you don't have to worry about it for yourself. And one of the things that I always try and tell people is, look, you want someone that's secure, then you better be secure. Because I see a lot of anxious people really attacking the avoidance in the comment section about how horrible they are and how awful they are. But if that anxious person thinks they're going to land a secure person, they're probably not. Because the same way you're turned off by the avoidant person's behavior, the same way they're going to turned off by your anxious behavior. So if you want somebody who's secure, then you need to be secure. And many of you are not truly aware of how you're coming across in your relationships, that you need good feedback to see the things that you're doing to turn people off as well. It's very easy to see what other people are doing to bother us, but it's very challenging for us to see that is challenging the people that we date. So this can be tough for many of you to hear, but nobody here is perfect, and I'm all about helping you guys grow and change and better yourself. I went to therapy for years myself. I had a couple of therapists in grad school, because they taught us in grad school that if you want to be a good clinician, then you should be on the other side of it, and you got to work through your own stuff. So I've done a lot of work over the years to get where I'm at. And that's why I'm able to see these things more clearly and help you guys see these things that you're not seeing within yourself, or that the changes that you want to make in your relationships to be happier and healthier. Relationships aren't easy. And I grew up in a home where both my parents were married 3 times each, so I didn't see a lot of the healthy relationships either. So I had to learn this stuff because it was my passion and I really wanted to understand it. And many of us grew up in homes where parents were divorced or fighting, and so relationships look toxic and unhealthy, and that's one reason that avoidants want to run away. They didn't likely grow up in a home where their parents were loving and affectionate. They probably had one parent with alcohol issues or drug addiction or serious mental health issues, maybe both parents, and they're caught up in a cycle of fighting and arguing. A lot of times they've seen abuse. So please, even though you may be hurt and angry by the avoidant, which is totally understandable, try and take a step back and realize they probably grew up in a really toxic home. And that's part of the reason that avoidants don't really value relationships as much. Because for them, they see it as something that's probably going to lead to huge fights or arguing or someone getting arrested. Especially if you had an avoidant and they talk about their home life where there were people getting abused or arrested, things like that, and it happens a lot more than you realize. We just don't think to ask those questions when we're dating someone. So today I've got an email coaching that has an avoidant ex running away, and this woman is really giving this guy a lot of mixed messages. Okay, so this guy is in his late 20s, dating a woman in her mid-20s, and they dated for about 6 months. According to him, he says that she became distant towards the end of the relationship. She was very avoidant and told me from the beginning. Okay, so if somebody tells you these things about themselves from the beginning, you got to protect yourself. Don't blindly think that they're going to magically change because you're so wonderful and perfect and amazing. That's not how people operate. You may be wonderful and perfect and amazing in a lot of ways, but that's not why people often want to change. Now, after a breakup and losing someone, they can get that level of motivation. But oftentimes, they're so excited about the relationship and things feel so good in the beginning that they're not going to make those changes in the relationship. That's why we often have to do the work out of the relationship. Now, when you're single, when you're in no contact, this is your time to grow because it's very challenging to grow in a relationship. Because people kind of become stubborn and autonomous and they feel like someone's forcing them to do things differently. So it's a lot easier, in my opinion, to grow outside of the relationship. Now, if you're in a really, really healthy relationship, then it's a lot easier to grow. Okay, so after the breakup, he says we stayed in touch and would hang out occasionally, and we still had feelings for each other. This continued for 1.5 years. Now, based on the way he wrote this, I think they were probably still hooking up. It doesn't sound like a friendship situation. There's going to be some more info. But it sounds like they were probably hanging out and hooking up. Recently, her feelings intensified for me, and she kept telling me she loves me, and I make her feel secure, and I'm the man for her. She said she would even pray for me all the time. Okay, so think about this. They have been broken up for 1.5 years. They're hanging out. She's telling him that she loves him. He makes her feel secure. He's the man for her. She's thinking about him all the time. She's praying about him all the time. So it tells me, it looks like her interest level's pretty high there, right? Let's go on. Even her mom says she loves me and that I remember every detail about her daughter. But a week later, after she told me she loved me and that I make her feel secure, my friend caught her out with another man and posted it on social media that it's her boyfriend. I feel like we need to cue up some drama music, like in the background, like dun dun dun. You can imagine what he feels like. This would be awful. Somebody tells you that they love you, you're the man for them, and then a week later, they're out with someone else, and they're posting about it online? Let's go on a little bit. I suspect she's been seeing him for a while. And there's some big points that I would like to know the answers to, right? Was she hooking up with him all this time? Because that makes a big difference if they were hooking up that 1.5 years where they were broken up. Right? Because now it means she's putting him at risk health-wise. Is she being intimate with other people and not telling him? It obviously makes a big difference as to what level of intimacy was going on with them at that time. How often were they talking? What was she telling him? Was she saying she missed him? Was she alluding that maybe she wanted to fix things? Hard to say. Okay, so what happens? Since then, she's blocked me, and I'm very confused. Now, another big thing I don't know here is, did she block him after he confronted her? It's interesting because I would have really liked to have known if he was able to confront her about it, ask her what was going on. But it sounds like she just blocked him. Maybe right after she posted this other guy. He says that she's on antidepressants and drinks a lot. Obviously, that is a major red flag there. I don't know if she's got an addiction, but quite possibly. And it sounds like she's really struggling with her mental health, maybe with depression. People with depression often act out. It's tough to say because he's only like telling it in one sentence. I feel like she didn't care. Well, we could totally understand why you'd feel like that. She's telling you she loves you, and then the next week she's posting a picture with a guy online and says it's her boyfriend. So, yeah, I could see why you feel like she doesn't care. She's certainly giving a mixed message here. He says, what steps should I take to get her back? Okay, well, I think there's a lot of things you really want to consider before taking this woman back, okay? Obviously, it sounds like she's got an avoidant attachment style and she's not communicating with you. I don't know to what degree or what she has or hasn't told you in this period of a year and a half that you were hanging out. I don't know how intimate you were. I don't know what she was alluding to or telling you in that time. It doesn't sound like she was just a friend in that time period. Maybe she was, but it's hard to say. So it's going to really how you handle this and what you do is going to be based on that information on if she wasn't, kind of using you or taking you for granted or taking advantage of you, leading you on. If she was just friends with you all this time and you weren't hooking up and you knew she was dating other people and she was transparent about it, that's very different than if she's hooking up with you, leading you on, telling you she misses you, and making you feel like she wants a romantic connection. The only point where I know for sure she kind of did it was towards the very end, a week before she posted with this other guy. So is she sabotaging this with you? Was she secretly dating this guy for a while? Why is she telling you that she loves you and dating another guy? A lot of mixed messages here. And in my opinion, regardless, it seems pretty immature and selfish. It seems like she had to have been leading you on in some ways. You seem pretty shocked and surprised by the whole thing. And I don't know how trustworthy this woman is. And that's one thing that you're really going to have to evaluate is, was she lying? Was she breadcrumbing you? How shady was she? And how often was she doing it? What level was she maybe doing it at? I don't know based on what you wrote here, but all of these are some of the things that I'm thinking about. So you really want to consider how healthy this relationship will be if you guys do get back together. Not just jumping into something because you miss her and, she told you she loved you. I don't know if you love her. Probably. And, you mentioned here that you've been a fan of the channel for a while and the advice always works. And it always works out. So, you could hear from this woman again, but I'm going to be really careful and get a lot of information slowly and make sure that you can trust this woman before you open up your heart to her again. There's a lot of major questions here that I didn't get the answers to that it would have been helpful to get. So obviously if we did a Skype coaching, I could ask you a lot of these questions and we could go over a lot of these points to consider. But leave her alone. Let's see what she does and let's see what she has to say. And, obviously you don't want to overwhelm her with a lot of questions, but if she comes back, I would want to know, I'm a little confused as to what happened here. You told me you loved me, then you posted a picture of this guy and then you blocked me. And then I'm going to see what she has to say and take it slowly from there. But you need to protect yourself based on what she did here, because at the very least, it certainly seems immature. There could be some part of her that sabotaged this because she was feeling close with you. But, it's like, why are you telling me that you love me, and then all of a sudden you're out with another guy? Did you all of a sudden feel this freedom within yourself to tell me you loved me because now there wasn't the pressure of being with me because you knew you were going to be with someone else? As a psychotherapist, we see a lot of people do unusual things because of what's going on in their unconscious. Okay, so that's some of the things that I'm wondering are going on underneath the surface in this situation. But be careful here. You need to make sure that she is honest and transparent with you when she comes back. Protect yourself and don't be eager. Okay, so hopefully you found this one helpful. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. You can get my workbooks or my creative healing course only on my website. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.